First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem, Kakadash, and the Heavenly Father, that you may say Yahweh, and the Unbegotten Son, Ba'Shem, in the name of Mashiach Yahushua. Those are their true names in the ancient Paleo Hebrew, the Marsh One God's Holy Tongue. And I say Shalom to the elders, Wa'akim, Wa'akwath, and I say Shalom. And this is a quick sit-down lesson of the express nations with complexity. I'm getting into that Luke 21, verse 25. Yep, this is the book of Luke. The book of Luke, chapter 21, verse 25. It reads, it says, there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon. Right, we definitely seeing the increasing signs in the sun and the moon and the stars. Upon the earth, the distress of nations for perplexity and the seas rage war. Right, so we seeing the increasing of these upwards and in the world, the distress of nations for perplexity and the seas rage war. As I mentioned numerous of times, we've seen what took place over there in Myanmar, because Myanmar, they've been going through heavy escalations, government leaders versus guerrilla faction forces. And we've seen what took place not too long ago. One of the I believe the voters official, they got killed in that one of those guerrilla faction had us killed one of those voter registration leaders over there in that area over there in Myanmar. And they even having the cross-border conflicts between the organization armies throughout the cross borders of Thailand and Myanmar, as you've been having the citizens fleeing from Myanmar to Thailand. Even if you flee from Thailand, even if you flee from Myanmar to Thailand, you still have to deal with the border, cross-border of escalations between on both sides. And then we definitely been seeing that increasing more and more and more. And as they continue to, to deal with that, as recently, I believe earlier in this year, if I'm not mistaken, of like late 2023 or early 2024, we had Myanmar. They recently had a meeting, where they had they was going to extend the martial law and the state of emergency over there in Myanmar due to the fact that escalations are rising up over the area. So that's just a prime example of what you call the stress of nations with complexity in the seas where it's born. Just like not too long ago, even though I mentioned this numerous of times, but we definitely seen the increasing of the state of emergencies and the increasing of the martial law over there, the Russia-Ukraine situation that's heating up over there as well too. Luke 21, verse 25, and there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and the stars, and upon the earth the stress of nations with perplexity in the sea and raise war of God. And this is this is second Ezra chapter 9 and verse 3. Salakia. Second Ezra is chapter 9 and verse 3. And it reads, it says, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and upwards and in the world, right, just like we've been seeing those, I believe, over there in the campus of, I forget what campus it is, Columbia University, and you had those, most likely those probably liberal Edomites, and a diverse of liberals protesting of pro-Palestinian against the anti-Israel, if you know what I mean. I'm trying to speak in code because I want to get no strikes on my channel, but we definitely been seeing that, even though we've been seeing that previous years and throughout the years, and as of recently as well too, they've been ramping up a little bit, not just only in North America, but we've been definitely seeing that, especially earlier in this year, from October 7th all up to now, we've been seeing the rising protests and divisions between both sides, and they definitely been claiming the lies as well too. So I remember that happened not too long, about a couple of months ago over there in California. You had one older Edomite was killed by a I don't know if he was pro-Palestinian or pro-Israeli, if I'm not mistaken. So both sides with this protest and opposing both each other, defunding them, don't give them money because they bad groups, especially with the recent protests last week over here in Illinois, over there in California, the Bay Area, and throughout the United States have been increasing as of recently from previous couple months ago of last year and all into recently, So we definitely seeing the stress of nations for perplexity, and disease rage and war. So I'm going to read it again. This is 2nd Esdras 9, verse 3, Salakia. It says, therefore, when there should be seen earthquakes and upwars in people's world, right, we're definitely seeing the increasing of the high magnitude of these earthquakes in diverse places. And we're definitely seeing the manifestation of the increasing of these upwars in people's world. And that's what we're seeing. We're definitely seeing that worldwide. It's only going to show forth more and more. Now let's see. We got 2nd Esdras 15 and verse 14. This is 2nd Esdras chapter 15 verse 14 from the apocryphal books of the Holy Scriptures and reads. It says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein. 2nd Esdras 15 verse 5. Salakia. 2nd Esdras 15 verse 15. For the sword, because we know the modern day sword is the weapon. It says, for that sword and the discretion draweth nigh. One people should stand up and fight against another with swords in their hands, right? Because the modern day sword is the weapon, as I reiterate that. So we're definitely seeing the increasing throughout the whole planet Earth, not just only in one place, not just in multiple places, throughout the whole planet Earth. One people should stand up against another. Citizens rising up against citizens worldwide. Citizens against their leaders, and that's what we're seeing. 2nd Esdras 15 verse 16. For there shall be sedition among men, invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor their princes in the course of their actions to stand in their power. Right, that's what we're seeing. So it's going to intensify. It's going to show forth more and more. 2nd Esdras 15 verse 17. A man should desire to go into a city and should not be able to. Why it's going to be a time where a man should desire to go into a city. He should not be able to. State of emergencies, martial law, checkpoints, emergencies alerts due to the famines, the pests, the plagues, the great insurrection, the uprising, spiritual grave of vengeance, the love of many shall wax cold, because these are the times that we're about to enter into. 2nd Esdras 15 verse 18, it says, for because of that pride, the city shall be troubled, and the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Proverbs 16 verse 18, pride go before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. 2nd Esdras 15 and verse 19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, which we're seeing right now, because I believe it was a case, but they family members there, but I believe over there in Oklahoma, the story took place, I would say yesterday, because I just did a sit down lesson on it. I would say about like 30 minutes ago, an hour ago. And then you had this man, he shot and killed his wife, and he killed his 3 children. And luckily, the 10-year-old, the fourth victim, was able to survive. So we're definitely going to see that increase in this way too. So I'm going to read that again. This is 2nd Esdras 15 verse 19. It says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, right? Because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. Also in latter days, perilous times shall come, which is that 2 Timothy, the 3rd chapter, and Matthew 24 verse 12, and the Matthew 24 verse 21, as I reference those scriptures. This is 2nd Esdras 15 verse 19. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and great tribulation. Right, because of the lack of bread and great tribulation. Get into that Matthew 24 verse 21, since I mentioned it. Salakia. Yep, this is the book of Matthew. Yep, Matthew 24 verse 21. Yep, this is the book of Matthew 24 and verse 21. It reads, it says, for then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, nor ever shall be. Right, so it's going to be a great tribulation time like never before, nor ever shall be. And this is Matthew 24 and verse 12. Since I reference those scriptures and bring it out. Yep, Matthew 24 verse 12. And because iniquity shall abound, lawlessness shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. Right, because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. We're going to see that increase more and more and more. And let's get into that Isaiah 19 verse 2. Then I'm getting to that Mark 3 verse 20. Mark 3 and verse 23 to verse 26 as well too, as a precept to that. And this is Isaiah. Yep, this is the prophet Isaiah. Yep, this is the prophet Isaiah 19. I'm starting with verse 1. Yep, because this is a modern day spiritually Egypt, just like ancient Egypt. This is Isaiah 19 verse 1. The burden of Egypt, behold, the Lord Yahweh thy power rideth upon a swift cloud, and shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. Right, just like ancient Egypt. You're gonna see that in modern day spiritually Egypt, because there's no new thing on the sun. Like it says in Ecclesiastes 1 verse 9 through verse 11. Verse 1, right, chapter 1, verse 10 through verse 9, all the way through verse 11. This is Isaiah 19 verse 2. And I will set the Egyptian against the Egyptian, right, the modern day Egyptian against the modern day Egyptian. It says, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, kingdom against kingdom, right? Everyone against his neighbor, everyone against his brother and his neighbor, city against city, kingdom against kingdom. That's what I'm going to be seeing in these times, because this is a modern day spiritual Egypt. Now let's see, bringing that book of Mark. Yep, this is Mark 3 and verse 23. Because it's definitely going to be worldwide. Expressive nations will perplex citizens rising up against citizens, citizens against their leaders. We're going to see this worldwide, great divisions. Just like it says in Luke 12, verse 51. Think not that I come to set peace on earth. I tell you, neighbor, what a sword, great division. Not trying to butcher that scripture. That's in Luke 12, verse 51. This is Mark 3 and verse 23. And he called unto them and said unto them in a parable, how can Satan cast out Satan? Mark 3 and verse 24. And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. Right. So if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. Even if a kingdom within itself cannot stand. So it's going to be kingdoms within itself rising up against a kingdom. Kingdom outside the other kingdom outside of their kingdom rising up against another kingdom. This is Mark 3 and verse 24. And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. Mark 3 and verse 25. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. So if a house within itself be divided, it definitely cannot stand. Mark 3 and verse 26. It says, and if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand. Right. 2 Andrew 9 verse 5, the beginning of the end, ends being manifest for the wicked. The wicked is come to naught. 2 Andrew 6 and verse 9, for Esau is the end of the world. Jacob is beginneth that followeth, Now this is the book of Luke, since I mentioned that. Hey, so Yahweh Shai is going to send these increasing great divisions and disgressive nations throughout the whole planet Earth. So it's only going to increase. It's going to show forth in these times. This is the book of Luke, chapter 12. Basically, these are precepts I'm bringing out. This is the book of Luke, Luke 12, verse 51. It says, suppose ye that I come to give peace on earth? ? I tell you, neighbor, and division. Right, the Heavenly Father, God, by power is going to send great divisions. And it's going to be back to that Deuteronomy 32 and verse 8. And we definitely seeing that. That's in progress as we speak. Even though nations are going to rise up against one another, and then another nation's rising up against another nation outside of their nation. One kingdom within itself rising up a kingdom, and the kingdom outside their kingdom rising up against another kingdom. One citizen is rising up within themselves, and then citizens rising up against another citizens outside their nation, and citizens rising up against leaders. So it's going to be great divisions on all fronts in different category or aspect. It all depends what the situation is. So we're going to see great divisions on the planet Earth. That's why we're seeing the distress of nations with complexity and the seas rage war. This is Luke 12, verse 52. It says, for from henceforth there shall be 5 in one house divided, 3 against 2, 2 against 3. Luke 12, verse 53. The father shall be divided against the son against the father, the mother against the daughter, and the daughter against the mother, and the mother-in-law against her daughter-in-law, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. Great divisions upon that as well too. Luke 12, verse 54. And he said also to the people, when ye see a cloud rise out of the west, straightway ye say, there cometh a shower, so it is. Luke 12, verse 55. And when ye see the south wind blow, ye say, there will be heat, and it cometh to pass. Luke 12, verse 56. It says, ye hypocrites, ye can discern the face of the sky and of the earth, but how is that you do not discern this time? And the Wadi al-Bashir al-Shah for putting the spirit on us to be able to discern these times. And we could be able to discern the increasing discernment of the of wars and people war, which is in 2nd Esdras 9, verse 3 through 21, verse 25. The stress of nations with perplexity in the seas where it's born. And the Wadi al-Bashir al-Shah for putting that increasing discernment of the times that we're living in. And the Wadi al-Bashir al-Shah for that. Now I'm getting back into that Luke 12 and verse. I'm gonna get back into that Luke 21, verse 25, and then I'm gonna close it out. Yep, this is the book of Luke, chapter 21, verse 25, and it reads, it says, and there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon, and the stars, and upon the earth the rest of nations where perplexity in the seas raging born. Yeah, so we're gonna definitely see that more increasing of that. So with that, hopefully this quick sit down lesson was edifying. The quick sit down lesson was edifying. As I mentioned, the distress of nations with complexity and seeds raging born, that's only going to increase, So with that, once again, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Ba'adash, and the Heavenly Father, true name is Yahweh, and His only begotten Son, Ba'ashem, in the name of Mashiach, Yahweh Shai. Those are their true names in the ancient Paleo Hebrew, but Lashma across the whole tongue. And I say shalom to the elders, Ma'akim, Ma'akwa. Until next time, I will say shalom.